I'm starting recording so we can get the spontaneous hellos. Steve, you know Tallulah.
Good morning, Tallulah.
How are you doing?
How are you?
I'm good. I think it's the afternoon, actually.
Delighted to be here.
I've been on H's podcast a few times, so it's good to for you to return the favour and join us back here.
It is. I'm doing this for nothing. I'm not even charging you in gin or anything.
I know. Well, I might have to bring you a nice bottle of gin to the studio just to say thank you. No. I know what you like. You like that 10 stuff, that Tanqueray 10, don't you?
Oh, I do like that. Yeah. I told you about him, didn't I, Dr. Tanqueray?
No.
He did my vasectomy.
Oh, dear.
Did I tell you that story?
No, go on. You tell it now. Go on.
I'm lying in these stirrups with me feet in the air and the distant smell of burning, talking to this bloke, and I said, "See, you're Dr. Tanqueray." He said, "Yeah." I said, "You're no relation to the gin, are you?" And he went, "Yeah, it was my grandfather." I said, "You're lying." He said, "No, it was." So whenever I have a G&T now, I raise a little toast to the good doctor.
Wow. Well, when I had my vasectomy, he said...
Wasn't Arthur Guinness?
This is great.
No, it wasn't. I said, "Is it all right if I watch?" And I watched him pull this, what looked like a bit of spaghetti and tomato sauce out and snip it.
Too much.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I didn't think that would come up in the next 5 minutes.
No, well, there you go. That's what you get when you get two members of Marillion. Yeah. Tallulah, have you listened to any of H's podcasts?
I haven't, no. I should have, as my homework.
No.
If you had, you would have known what to expect, see?
Yeah, a lot of talk of vasectomies and, all kinds of things.
So anyway, well, the reason we got you on now is because we're working through my book, and we're just at the point, at the end of the chapter, where you enter. Marillion Require Vocalist was the name of the chapter. Usually we ask people, how did you get into the music business? That was a good starting point.
How did I get into the music business? Well, I suppose the short answer is I went to see Deep Purple at Sheffield City Hall when I was about 17, and I sat there and I thought, what on earth am I doing with my life? This is much more fun than what I'm doing. I should be doing this. So it was literally that moment of thinking, if I don't do this, I'll be wasting my life.
Right.
So from that day forward, I was on a mission, to get into a band and have that much fun. So had
you been playing keys for a long time before that, or was that your...
No, not at all. No, I didn't play anything. And literally the next day, I nagged the living bejesus out of my parents to get me a piano.
Wow.
So they got a second-hand piano put it in the back room, and I used to just bang away on it and drive everybody around the twist. Until I go ding 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 ding, a bit at a time, till I'd got chords, and bit by bit I taught myself to play it.
Oh, so similar to my story then, where I saw Rick Wakeman or heard Rick Wakeman and went, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. So. Okay, so late starter like me.
I wasn't a musician at all up to then. I mean, didn't study music. I always was musical because I could hear the notes and the chords. If I heard songs on the radio, I could kind of hear the notes in my head. Of what was making the chords up. So I must have been born musical, but I hadn't played anything up until then.
Right, interesting. That's great. So, and then you joined a band, and what was your first band? Was it Harlow? Was that the?
Yes, we were a kind of working men's club band, except that we refused point blank to do covers, which is all the working men's clubs want. So we
Yeah.
never played anywhere more than once. We'd play once and they'd never have us back.
They never invite you back. Yeah. What was that rubbish you were playing? We didn't know any of those songs. Yeah.
I do more requests now than I did back then. I mean, that's not a lie. I'll do requests now. Back then, forget it. No, I was above all that back then.
I think I had the same experience where people wanted you to play covers, but all I wanted to, or the band I was in wanted to do was do our own material. So you kind of reluctantly agreed to do a few covers just so people knew some of the songs. But generally it was like, no, we want to write our own.
Well, I've told you this, I was threatened at knife point in the toilet by a bloke that said we had to play Delilah in the next set, actually. Play Delilah with the knife, all right, yeah, I'm sure we could manage that. Nobody knew it, but we did it because there was all these. I mean, I don't know. It was full of fishermen. I don't know why it was full of fishermen because it wasn't. It was in Rotherham or somewhere like that, and the club was full of fishermen for unknown reasons. And one of them threatened me with a knife to play Delilah in the toilet. So we did. So under duress, we would do covers.
Right, and you played it without having not learnt it or rehearsed it. It must have been wonderful.
It was bloody awful, but fortunately, as soon as we got to the chorus, they all took over. So they couldn't hear us then. So we got away with it.
Brilliant, love it. So let's jump forward.
Harlow became the Neutrinos very, very briefly and then split up. And then I needed to get into another band. By then I was a keyboard player. I'd got a Wurlitzer piano and a Mini Moog and an ARP Odyssey and a Farfisa Compact Duo.
Which is the same organ that I had. That's such a coincidence.
It is a strange... And I had a black Mini Moog, and so did you.
I still got it somewhere.
Have you still got it? You bastard.
Yeah.
I wish I'd never sold mine. But, yeah, you see, we had a lot in common. And then the Europeans got a record deal, and we made a couple of albums for A&M that never really went anywhere, and then A&M split up. Normally the band splits up, doesn't it? But our record label split up. And sort of left us high and dry. So then we split up when the money ran out. And then I got another deal with the guitarist from the Europeans, Colin. And we called that project How We Live. And we made an album, and we didn't have any kind of success with that either. And so I decided to become a milkman. And we put the house on the market. We were living on the edge of Windsor. You probably came to that house at Englefield Green.
Yes, I definitely visited you there. Yeah.
We were there, and we put that on sale. And the life plan was to sell that house, go to Derbyshire, buy a cottage rent-free, and I would become a milkman. Literally, I mean, really seriously. Because I had a look around in the world, and I'm going to have a look around and see who the happiest people are. And they were either postmen or milkmen. So I thought, that's who I'll be. I want to be that happy person. So I decided I didn't want to be a postman, I'd be a milkman. And we'd buy a cottage in Derbyshire. I'd get up very early in the morning, do my milk round, finish at lunchtime, and watch my kids grow up and, be in the garden and be real and not be in the music business anymore. Because by then I thoroughly hated the music business because I'd had 2 record deals that hadn't really worked out. And it'd just been a lot of stress, and I'd had it. So I got to a point where even if I walked past a piano, my stomach used to tighten up. I associated it with stress and this is no good. I'm going to stop this. Can't live like this anymore. So I decided to be a milkman. And as soon as I decided to be a milkman, you lot rang me up. And so did Matt Johnson. So then this bloke who'd got a band called The, who I was a big fan of, and I played piano on his album. He rang me up and asked me if I'd go out on tour with him. So there I was, all revved up to be a milkman. I'm suddenly thinking, oh, hang on a minute. That could be a lot of fun, because I'll be at the back. I won't have any of the pressure. I won't be at the front and the middle. I don't have to write anything. Matt can take all the bloody credit, and I can just be at the back and have a thoroughly good time and go on tour and, live the dream. So I was totally up for that. And I went and had a meeting with him and told him I would do it. And then I think it was literally within days of telling him I would do that, you lot phoned me up.
Well, just to back up a bit there.
The management.
Yeah, so it was, what had happened was we were looking for somebody to write lyrics because Fish had gone. We thought we'll try and find a singer, but we should look around and see if we can find a lyricist too, just in case the singer that we like doesn't write lyrics, which quite often happens. So
sensible.
we contacted Rondor, your publisher, about seeing if they had anybody on their books that wrote lyrics. That was the connection, and somebody in your publisher's office decided to put you forward as a singer.
Yeah, I remember that as well, because I went into the building. He was called Alan Jones, I think. He was the general manager at Rondor. And I went into their office. They had a really nice office in Parsons Green. I always used to love going there. And they'd all been at parties because it was Christmas week. So, the music business, all they do really is enjoy themselves, isn't it? And they'd all been, they were all really badly hungover when I arrived at the office, and they all kind of laying face down into sofas and things and groaning. And I went in and said, can anyone think of anything for me to do? Because my band had just split up. And by that, I didn't mean music. I meant like I could, I don't know, be in the office, hanging out with the girls, ordering the Tipex, grooving around. And they misunderstood the question, and they thought I meant, musical stuff. But that is really not what I was asking, but they assumed that I was. And they said, did you know Marillion are looking for a singer? And I went, well, what's happened to Fish then? And he said, oh, he's left. And I said, oh, well, I don't know about that. And he said, well, we'll send them a tape. I said, oh, all right then. And I kind of forgot all about it. And that was Christmas, the lead up to Christmas of '88. And then I went to Yorkshire for Christmas with my parents. Had a look at a few cottages in Derbyshire for the milkman dream, and then came back down and the phone started ringing. And that was my sort of... And then I turned up a day late for the audition, didn't I?
Well, Dwayne Welsh was the guy that was contacting you, wasn't he? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was Dwayne. That's exactly right. He contacted me first. And then every now and again, did Ian ring up? I don't think Ian did, but I'd got a friend called Darryl Way, a violinist, who was in a band called Curved Air. And he was my drinking mate in Windsor. And Ian had worked with Darryl. So then Ian was phoning up Darryl going, have a word with this Hogarth about coming and meeting us. So then Darryl started nagging me. Have you spoken to Marillion yet?
Okay, it makes sense now, because at the time we were like, well, me personally, I was like, why is he so uninterested? Well, this is a great opportunity, but you were you'd already checked out. You were like, I'm going off to do something else now. I've had it with the music industry, so it kind of makes sense now.
And the only reason I agreed, or that it was appealing to go out and do the tour with There, was because I was so sick of being at the front in the middle. I'd really had a belly full of that and the stress of it. And so when he said, do you want to come and play piano on my tour? I thought, oh, hang on a minute. That might do me the world of good. And and having got into that mindset, then I'd got you guys on the phone. Will you come and be our singer? I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's the last thing on earth I want to be. I don't want to be I don't want to be back in that situation where I'm under all that pressure to be at the front, in the middle, and writing words. And, because I'd nearly cracked up over it when I'd been with CBS. So that's why I was less than, from your point of view, you must have been thinking, what's the matter with this bloke? It's the dream ticket, and he's sniffing at it like it's, something unpleasant. But I didn't want it. I didn't want to be, I know, knowing me as you do, you probably find this hard to believe, because I probably seem very comfortable at the front in the middle these days. But I didn't want it. I'd had enough of it.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, if you'd had the, that whole thing of like making an album, signing a record deal, and then nothing, and then doing it all again, and then nothing, it's like it can take the enthusiasm out of you for this job. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very stressful back then.
Yeah. And having no money, obviously, because that's what it's like, unless you're big, unless you've made money, unless you're successful in the music industry, it's feast or famine, isn't it?
Well, CBS used to say, go away and write us a hit. And when you've done it, come back and play it to us. And so me and Colin would spend weeks trying to come up with something. And then we'd go in and they'd go, no, go and do, write something else. And they'd just send us away. And it was awful,
after you've crafted it, and yeah.
So I was just full of self-loathing and like, get me out of here. I can't do this anymore. I will have a nervous breakdown. That's the stage I was at shortly before I got together with you guys. But you were like a breath of fresh air because, two reasons really. You never, whether or not you were, you never seemed to be under any pressure. You all seemed very, very relaxed when I met you. You didn't seem like a band that had lost their singer and didn't know what to do next. You were all like, oh, everything's going to be fine. That was the vibe I got when I met you all.
Yeah, and that's how it felt. It seems now looking back, and I've thought about this before, it's like we lost a singer. We were like looking for a singer, and yet we were quietly confident that it was all going to be okay.
Yeah,
I think
that was the vibe.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, my God, this lot are something else, aren't they? They seem totally unbothered by the situation they're in, and that's kind of quite nice. And there was still, I'd gone from this thing where it was all about stress and pressure and do it now and to you lot all going, oh, everything's fine, shall we have a cup of tea? And then Rod get in his car and just drive off, and you go, where's he gone? Oh, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Well, he never says. So I'm suddenly in with this bunch of just unfeasibly relaxed human beings. And so that was a very welcome change.
So Tallulah, we went to this place, we called it the Mushroom Farm, because I think it was a mushroom farm in a previous life, but it was just like a hut. With accommodation and a rehearsal space, and we said, no, that was long before Hookend.
That was very nice. Hookend. No, this was more like somewhere you would breed rabbits. It was in the middle of a field. It was just a field with like a scout hut in it, and that was it, and a car park.
Yeah, nice. So somewhere near Brighton, which was actually not a bad place to be in the sense it was near a nice town, but we didn't care. We were like. We said to Steve, let's get together for a couple of weeks, give it a try, see what the chemistry's like, see if we can work together. And straight away we kind of we hit it off really. We had a really productive couple of weeks.
But I sort of insisted on that because I'd learnt the hard way as well. The bass player in Harlow had nearly murdered me one night on a boat. He'd smashed a glass and tried to screw it into the face of the drummer, and me and the guitar player got in the way to try and stop him, and he cut my hand open and severed my thumb tendon. And
oh my God.
So it's not what you want if you're a piano player.
Not what you want really ever, but if you're a piano player, it's slightly worse. And I'd learned the lesson that if you join a band, it's not just about the music. It's about whether or not somebody's going to try and kill you at some point. And you've got to be sure that's not the case. So I said, let's go and live together for a period of time and just, find out that one of us isn't a psychopath. That's not the way I put it, but that's what I meant. And see how the chemistry is, because it is like a marriage. Once you join a band, I mean, you're in each other's pockets for years and years and years, and you're under a lot of stress together. So you have to be able to function in that marriage. I mean,
we talk about that quite a lot.
Yeah, the relationships in the band. But that thing about your hand, your injury. We were standing in Pete's kitchen after we'd. Yeah, there's his scar. After we.
Hang on, I'm trying to find it. Look,
yeah.
See how that. Don't know if it's showing up really. It's a lot better than it used to be, but it's all kind of mashed and sort of mashed up there as well. From this mad bloke on a boat.
H had sung with us for about half an hour. We'd done a sort of very early version of The King of Sunset Town, and we all went, wow, you're in, this is it. And I said to him, unless you turn out to be a mad axe murderer, you've got the gig. And he said, I'm a mad axe victim. And then showed us.
Been there, done that.
But,
presumably it was a bit of a breath of fresh air for you as well, Dad.
Oh, we just had years of the whole cloak and dagger stuff with Fish, and not knowing really what was going on from one day to the next, and then having fun again and making music and just being five guys in a room just enjoying ourselves. And it was really creative, really productive. Season's End, was a really great album for us to make at that time, and we all contributed to it. We had a lot of music that we'd written before Steve came along, lyrics that H had written, the song Easter that H had written, and we all went, wow, this is really good, let's work on this. So there was a lot of it, although we didn't know it when we were sort of checking each other out, there's a lot of common ground musically which we found out.
Yeah, it was easy. I mean, it's never been as easy since, but that first album was dead easy, wasn't it? It was a real...
It got much
itself.
harder, yeah.
It wrote itself. We just turned up and it seemed to write itself underneath us. So it was a lot, and we just had fun. We'd go into Brighton and go and have cocktails or something if we got bored. We'd all get in cars and go to Brighton and have a cocktail and come back, or try and work out where others had gone. Occasionally, We were on in the studio one day working, and Rothers just got up and walked out of the room, and he never came back. And I said, "Where's he gone?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" "Well, he's gone." Well, yeah. That was just the most ordinary thing, that a person would just get up, say nothing, and leave a room in the middle of a session. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just a very uptight human being.
Does he do that now?
No, he's better now. But he admitted to me the other day that he's better. But I went out and his car had gone. It wasn't even in the car park. So he'd come out of the room, got in the car and driven away. And nobody else in the band had even gone, where's he gone? They weren't bothered. They were just like totally normal. And I'm going, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, but I think we kind of came from different work ethics, didn't we? You had this probably from your CBS days where they were saying go away and write a hit song. You were working 8-10 hours a day trying to come up with a hit song, and you would like, right, we've got to work on this until we've got it, because that was how it was. Whereas we were like, let's take this idea and leave it for a bit and see if we still like it tomorrow. That's the
Let's go to a cocktail bar and stop now. We've done more than enough. It's been a full hour and a half.
Yeah, didn't they have to send you home at one point because you were getting so fed up? With
that was the
working.
Well, I wasn't fed up. I was just going, you know, my mindset was very much, if they'd got an idea going, I'd go, well, we could put a middle eight in here. Look, why don't we get on the piano? Why don't we do this? And then this could be the chorus. And then after this, we could go into two choruses out, and everybody's going, oh, no, no, oh, no, no, that's all, ooh. Oh, no, we'd have to think about it.
Too quick, yeah.
Too quick. It's a formula, man. It's too formulaic. You know, it needs to be more, I don't know, but it's all happening too quickly. And in the end, they just said, look, why don't you go home for a week and come back and we'll just sort of get on with it on our own? Because I think I was starting to drive everybody a bit crazy. So I went away for a week, came back, and it was more or less the same when I got
this was the Holidays in Eden album, though, wasn't it? That was when all that happened. Yeah. Once we got over the honeymoon of like everybody being like, yeah, let's work really quickly, get the album done, and then when we started on Holidays in Eden, it was like, okay, now we've got a blank slate. We know each other well. There's less not less willingness, but there was. We'd lost the froth of excitement that we had at the very beginning. So then it was like, okay, now we have to settle down to the job of work of actually writing the songs. And you were prepared to do that in a sort of workmanlike way and go, right, this, it's the 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration. But we were like, oh no, it shouldn't be hard work. It has to come from.
It has to evolve. It has to evolve, man. So yeah, I guess I was sort of trying to make a building by, I was the bricklayer and they were trying to grow one organically out of the ground. Put a bit more water on it. We'll come back in a week and see if anything's sprouted. And I was busy going,
But I think there's a place for both of those approaches, and I think that's
Also, I think at the time there was, although it wasn't really acknowledged or spoken out loud, I think each member of the band perhaps had not an idea, but a feeling for where they then wanted the band to go from this day forward. And not everyone had the same feeling. I think Rothers was very worried that it was going to go in a direction that isn't really what he wanted, and maybe you were, and maybe I was. I was worried it would go in a direction I didn't want it to go in. And so we were all a bit fearful of, almost finishing a song was frightening in case it went in the wrong direction. And we ended up with an album that, this isn't what we wanted to do. But nobody knew what they wanted to do. They just kind of knew what they didn't want to do. And so there was a kind of fear that went through Holidays in Eden when we were writing it, which is why I think it took so long. It took forever because everybody was scared to commit to finishing it or just worried about what kind of band we might become.
Yeah, but also probably we didn't have as many ideas to work with. When we came into Season's End, there was the music for more than half of it was already there in some form or other. We'd put some work in before you joined, and you had some music that you were bringing and lyrics, and we had John Helmer's lyrics. So there was a lot of ingredients that were already there, ready to be assembled into songs. Whereas I think Holidays in Eden, it was like, okay, now we have to come up with the ideas, arrange them
from the ground up.
Yeah, so that maybe we were a bit.
How do you do it now?
Extremely slowly, much slower than when we were at our slowest in the old days.
If you'd shown H what we work like now back then, he would have thought we were working incredibly hard all the time.
I'd have joined another band and just said, look, give us it. I'll be in both these bands. I'll go and join another band. I'll write an album, go on tour, and then I'll come back and write verse 2 for this thing you've got on, in 6 months' time.
Yeah, the way we do it now is we do these jamming sessions. That is where the inspiration, the ideas come from that we're then going to use to make into songs. But that's the musical side, and then on the lyric side, well, you can say what you do with that.
Well, I tend it varies from album to album, but I've usually got words left over from the last lot of sessions that we didn't manage to glue to any good music. Sometimes they're good words, but they don't get used because they haven't been married with anything exciting enough to go the distance. Also, I scribble things down from time to time, usually without realizing I've done it. I always think I've got nothing until I really start looking, and then I've usually got quite a lot more than I thought I had. I've got loads for this album. I mean, much more than we'll get to use.
There's like 20 lyrics floating around as far as I can tell. And in good stages of completion as well, not just bits,
Yeah, interesting kind of things. There's some really strong things, but whether or not they'll appear just depends on whether I can hang them on anything you're doing in real time, and time will tell. But I'm pretty confident we'll get somewhere with most of it.
Yeah, so it feels like we're at that stage where the arranging part needs to happen, and we're starting to do that, aren't we?
We've got dust.
Yeah.
When we write an album, it's like a planet exploding backwards. If you can imagine a planet exploding, right, and then 6 months later, you play the film backwards, and there's nothing at all. There's just space, and then after about 3 months, in the very, very far distance, you think, hang on a minute, is there dust? And then 2 months after that, there are rocks. And at the very last minute, it goes, shoo, and there's a planet. And our writing is like that. And at the moment, we've got dust. That's
right. I could see a few pebbles and stones.
Soon we'll have pebbles, exactly.
Yes. But then once we get to that stage where it's really coming together, it does happen really quickly, doesn't it?
It seems to, yeah. It seems to suddenly be there.
Was there any conflict between you two, both being keyboard players, when you first joined?
Oh.
Not about the keyboards. There's been plenty of conflict, but it's never been about the piano.
Were you worried, Dad?
No, I have to honestly say, no, I wasn't worried about my position so much as about my, what would you call it, my territory. I don't know. The idea of another keyboard player in the band made me wonder if it would come to that thing where, H would say, oh, don't play it like this, play it like that. Or I've got a great idea for how you can do this song, But that never happened, not even once. I mean, there's been a few times where I said, oh, what are you doing there? That's interesting. Or show me that part you're playing or whatever. Or what's that sound? But we kind of keep in our own lanes, really. We both play, but we have a different style of playing, and we contribute in different ways. So it's never felt like there's any need really to say anything. We just both do our own thing. Very rarely have you said anything where you've gone, oh, I'd rather you didn't do that, or can you do something else? Maybe you're very diplomatic about it and I don't notice, but I don't feel like there's any conflict in the keyboards. But in other areas, there's been a little bit.
Yes, we've been through a few phases. We were we were just the best of buddies, weren't we, for quite a long time at one point, and then I don't know. We seemed to fall out. I don't know what we fell out over, but then we used to rub up against each other a lot. But those days seem to be over as well now, which is nice. We're getting on. Well, at least I think we're getting on all right.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
I feel like a therapist.
Yeah.
God. I could do with one. What are you charging?
I think everybody in the band's become more relaxed though as we've got older. I think we've become much more. I don't know. Not sure if we need to be tolerant of each other, but certainly just more chilled about stuff.
I think we respect one another more than we used to. I mean, that's my feeling. I mean, perhaps I'm talking about myself, but I respect everybody else for what is unique about them and what they add and what they're capable of in the band in a way that perhaps a few years ago I didn't think as much about that as perhaps I should have. So I tend to let everybody do their thing now without diving in and judging it or valuing it, and that's helped. And also, I think all five of us. I mean, again, I might be just talking about myself, but I'm really conscious of how lucky we all are now. You know,
That's...
I'm 69 years old and still getting away with doing this is to be incredibly blessed.
I think there's a
feeling amongst the five of us that we're really lucky to be in this situation. That basically, this is a band with five human beings that are basically good blokes with good moral compasses, who've got a good sense of what's right and wrong and what's honourable and what's dishonourable. And not, I don't think too many bands you could say that about. There's usually one arsehole in the equation, who isn't, and there isn't really in this band. Everybody's pretty honourable and reasonable and sense of right and wrong, which is a joy to be in. In any workplace, there's always somebody who makes your life a bloody misery because they're just not a nice person. And we don't really have one of those. So we're very fortunate.
And
so maybe it's all there.
And we're just so lucky to be still doing it. I mean, today, literally, I think I can say this, they put the tickets for Pompeii on sale at 1 p.m. It was sold out by 3 minutes past 1. I mean, what?
Yeah, that's amazing.
What band gets that? Yeah.
I mean, if we were at the top of the charts, that's fine, isn't it? But when you consider we're just a bunch of old blokes that no one ever hears on the radio or on telly, it's remarkable. We're very, very lucky.
Yeah,
we're in a
kind of sweet
best of both. We're in a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can make a living without it being a pain.
Without any of that nonsense.
And we can do what we want to do with as our job, if you like, making music and get paid for it. So it's great. What else can we say? That's it. Hurrah! I think that's it, Steve. We've done it. We've covered it.
Best thing I ever did, Mark. Joining this band.
I think we should get you on again, Steve. I feel like there's a lot more to talk about. Random stuff.
Oh Lord, careful what you want.
Yeah,
just get it.
I mean, we've only scratched the surface of the band's history because I was trying to cover the period where you joined the band. I mean, there was that first gig at the Crooked Billet. We didn't talk about that, or the second time you appeared in front of the Marillion audience, which was in Brixton Academy for the Hooksy New video.
Yeah.
But it was that whole year was a year of new things happening for all of us, really. So it was. We did a lot of touring, didn't we?
It was an adventure, wasn't it? I remember being in. I think we were in Canada, raising a glass to the 100th show. And we're nowhere near finished. And that was on. The amount of touring we did back then was bananas.
No wonder we all got divorced. Well, not all of us, obviously. I'm talking about.
Well, I did. You did.
Yes.
I thought you meant from each other. You mean from your partner? Yeah.
No, I mean being away from home. Being away on tour all the time.
Yeah.
It was so hard in those days because there wasn't any internet and there weren't any mobile phones. So when you went on tour, you just vanished. It was like being fired into space. And you could only phone home if you were in a hotel, which was every few days, and it cost a fortune. So you're hello, 40 quid. So there was this tension and stress just to say hi, to your wife, and so you could never relax. And now you can get on FaceTime and talk all night for nothing if you want. So it's so much easier than it used to be.
Yeah, true. Right, well, we'll get you back on again at some point.
Yeah, happy to come back on.
I've got one more
Dig
question.
a bit deeper.
I think.
Yeah.
Go on.
How did you feel scared to be stepping into the role of lead singer after like following Fish? Like, were you worried about how the fans would react?
Well, strangely, not a bit. Until we had a show, when it suddenly all came home to me at once, which was dumb, really. I should have been worrying about it all the way through, but the boys were so welcoming to me when I first joined the band, and there was this atmosphere of, oh, don't worry about that, everything's going to be fine. Every time I asked anyone anything, they go, oh, don't worry about that, everything will be fine. And so I slowly got into that mindset of not being remotely bothered. And then we went into Hook End Manor, which was this beautiful house and studio near Henley-on-Thames, to record Season's End. Whereupon your father went to the pub one lunchtime and promised the landlord a gig. Then came back and told everybody, and I wanted to kill him. Because I suddenly realised I'm going to be in front of their crowd for the first time ever in a tiny little room at a distance from people that they could reach out and strangle me. And at that point, I was terrified. You know, the fear of being in front of them, I suddenly thought, oh, shit, what have I agreed to? Which I kind of should have been thinking about all along, but I just hadn't.
Well, it was a fun night in the end. So
it was in the end, yeah. And nobody strangled me. It was really memorable that night because, I've never seen so many people. You couldn't get into the street that the pub was on, let alone into the pub or into the room in the pub that we were playing. It was mad.
Mental, yeah.
That was my first taste of your audience. Thinking, bloody hell, this is another thing, this, isn't it? I mean, really another thing. Because I was used to playing to kind of 15 men and a dog. And, not a rabid street full of people trying to get into a building. And it's not like we'd even announced the show, had we?
No,
really?
We kept it quiet, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's still true today that Marillion's fans have a way of finding things out through osmosis or the air. I don't know how they do it, but they seem to know.
I'm sure if we booked a gig at the Crooked Billet this week, we would have hundreds of people turning up, even if we didn't say too much about it. Well, these days it's a lot easier with the internet, but even then, I don't know. How did people find out? Because it was pre-internet days.
I don't. Yeah, and didn't we call ourselves the Low Fat Yogurts? Was that gig?
That was the gig.
We didn't even call ourselves Marillion.
Yeah, that was Nick Davis's idea. There was a pot of yogurt on the table, and he went, "Oh no, call yourselves the Low Fat Yogurts." Tallulah's disappeared again. She's definitely having internet connection problems.
Dodgy connection.
Yeah, well, I think her Wi-Fi's down, so she's on a mobile phone. That's the problem. Okay, well, if she doesn't come back, she's come back. Oh, there's two of her now. Look at that. Tallulah.
My connection's so rubbish, but I'm back.
I know.
We're wrapping up.
Go and sit on the roof.
Thanks, Mr. H. Lovely to see you. And
you're very welcome. I'll go and lie down.
And I'll see you. We're back in the studio on Wednesday, aren't we?
The crack of one, I believe.
Yeah.
The work ethic goes on unabated. Nice to see you, Tallulah.
Yeah, lovely to see you. Yeah. Thanks for coming on and for being very funny. And
he wasn't trying to be funny. Yeah.
Toodaloo.
Yeah.